Hello Superset Maniacs and welcome back to my channel. I have an interesting topic for you guys today. We all know who are the Olympia record holders, with Haney and Ronnie Coleman both tying for the record with 8 consecutive wins, Phil with 7, Arnold 6 consecutive wins between 1970 and 1975, and then one more win in 1980. You get the point. These stats can be accessed very easily on the internet. But we also know there has been some controversial decisions over the years where the best bodybuilder hasn't been always crowned the champion due to political decisions or even bad judgment. What I wanna do in this video is to see how the stats would be affected if the right bodybuilder would have been crowned each year. So I'm gonna briefly go through all the Olympia shows since 1965 until today and review the most controversial decisions. I repeat very briefly, because we're talking over 50 years of history here, and we will see how the stats would look if the right man was crowned champion every time. It's also true that controversy exists almost every year, bodybuilding being a subjective sport after all, but we're only gonna change those decisions that are widely known and regarded as bad decisions by the bodybuilding universe. We all know which ones they are. We're gonna start with 2020 and go backwards. So Mr. Olympia 2020 is no controversy in terms of first place. Big Ramy was the clear winner, so this remains unchanged. 2019 was an odd year with a lot of big names being absent at the Olympia. Brandon Curry was crowned champion, and as much as I appreciate him and his physique, his lack of conditioning was in no way Olympia worthy. Second place was William Bonac, but the true 2019 Mr. Olympia champion in my opinion is Harry Chupan, being the most conditioned guy on stage by far and also very complete. 2018 could have gone to Phil Heath if he didn't have the stomach issue, so Shawn Rhoden is the right winner. In 2017 we had the same story as in 2018 basically, Phil's midsection looking arguably even worse than in 2018. But he got the title in 2017 against a very good version of Big Ramy. Many fans still believe Ramy was robbed, so we're gonna count Ramy for 2017. 2016 and 2015 were 2 good years for Phil, beating Shawn Rhoden and Dexter Jackson respectively. No controversy there. There are fans that believe Dex should have won 2015, but they are just nostalgic Dexter fans. Phil was the clear winner that year. However, in 2014 we had arguably the best version ever from Kai Green and one of the worst for Phil Heath because of that hernia Phil had. So it's basically 2018 all over again. So Kai Green should have won 2014. 2013, 2012 and 2011 are no controversy. These are Phil Heath's best years when he totally dominated the opposition. These years are the ones that made Phil one of the GOATs. 2010 was another great year for Phil, but unfortunately for him, Cutler was still a powerhouse. Jay deserved the Olympia that year. 2009, Jay is one of the most dominant physiques ever graced on the Olympia stage, no controversy. 2008, Dexter, the same. He deservedly beat Jay that year. Jay being off, just like he was off in 2007 when he won the title against Victor Martinez, having a way worse physique than in 08, with Martinez being more dominant than 08 Dexter in my opinion. So 07 Victor is the uncrowned Mr. Olympia. In 2006, Jay finally beat Ronnie Coleman deservingly. Ronnie was already too injured. 05, 04 and especially 03 were Ronnie Coleman all day, no controversy there, but 2002 brings one of the most controversial decisions ever. Ronnie and Kevin Levrone were the top two, both of them being far from their best. The uncrowned 2002 Mr. Olympia is actually the 5th place finisher at that show, Gunter Schlierkampf. In 2001 there was yet again another bad year for Ronnie. Jay was much sharper and most of the people still consider him as the uncrowned 2001 Mr. Olympia, so he gets 2001 in our video. 2000, 1999 and 1998 were the years where Ronnie simply slammed the door on the opposition, no controversy there. 1997, on the other hand, is one of the most controversial Olympia decisions in history. Dorian practically won with only one hand, one arm. Most of the fans consider Nasser El Somebody as the uncrowned 1997 Mr. Olympia, so he's gonna be our champion in this video. 96 and 95 were Dorian Yates in my opinion. However, 1994 Mr. Olympia was the first show Dorian did after that horrible bicep tear. He was also in a worse condition than usual, having a distended stomach as well. Shawn Ray is the uncrowned 1994 Mr. Olympia. 1993 and 1992 are definitely Dorian Yates, no controversy, and we get to Lee Haney's reign. Lee Haney won the show 8 times between 1984 and 1991, having great opposition like Lily Brada, Rich Gaspari, Mohamed Makaway, and even Dorian Yates in 1991, but there is no controversy in any of those Olympia wins for Lee Haney. He simply dominated for 8 straight years and then retired at the age of 32. In 1983 and 1982, Samir Banu and Chris Dickerson respectively were crowned champions, no controversy. But 1981 comes with one of the most controversial decisions in history, Franco Columbu winning the title in a bad shape, especially downstairs. The 1981 uncrowned Mr. Olympia is considered to be Tom Platz, who actually took third at that show. 1980 might be even more controversial than 81, being the year when Arnold returned and won the Olympia after 5 years of retirement. My decision will be just as controversial as I consider Arnold the right winner of that show. It's true he was nowhere near at his best shape from 73 or 74 or even 75, but nobody was good enough to beat him in that shape in my opinion, the shape he had in 1980. Frank Zane won the Olympia 3 times between 1977 and 1979. His wins were pretty controversial at the time, as he was a smaller bodybuilder focused more on aesthetics than pure mass, and I believe that at least in 1979 Robbie Robinson should have been crowned champion. 76 was Franco after Arnold retired in 75, no controversy there. 75, 74 and 73 were Arnold Schwarzenegger, no doubt, but in 1972 he was off and won the show against Sergio Oliva, who looked better than him that year. Sergio is the uncrowned 1972 Mr. Olympia. 1971 could have been Sergio if he was allowed to compete. Arnold was the only participant at that show and he obviously won it. Arnold also won the Olympia in 1970 when he deservingly beat Sergio Oliva. Sergio won the show 3 times between 1967 and 1969, there's no controversy there, as well as for Larry Scott winning the first ever 2 Mr. Olympia shows, 65 and 66. Okay, so wrapping it all up, my calls were mostly based on the average bodybuilding universe opinions as well as my personal opinion. So of course, most certainly, these opinions are not 100% correct. This is only for fun, guys. Remember that this whole channel is meant to entertain the hardcore bodybuilding fans who don't argue opinions. Having said that, let's check out the stats. How would the record stats have looked if all these calls I just mentioned were made that way? The ultimate record holder for most Olympia wins would be Haney with 8 wins, being the only one from those with multiple Olympia wins who won without controversy. Tying for second place would be Arnold and Ronnie Coleman with 6 wins each, followed by Heath with 5, Dorian and Jay with 4 wins, and also Sergio Oliva with 4, our first entry who should have won more than he actually did. Remember, he only won the Olympia 3 times. Frank Zane would have had 2 instead of 3, Larry Scott still 2, and Big Ramy 2 wins instead of 1, counting 2017 as well. As for the one-time winners, we still have Franco Columbu, Chris Dickerson, Samir Banu, Dexter Jackson and Shawn Rhoden, with the new additions of Robbie Robinson, Tom Platz, Sean Ray, Nasser El Sambari, Gunter Schlierkampf, Victor Martinez, Kai Green and Harry Chupin, a total of 8 new Olympians, but also minus 1, Brandon Curry, the only Olympian who should have not won the title, at least yet, according to our stats today. So according to these stats, we could have had 23 different Olympia winners until this point instead of 16. So 7 more Mr. Olympia winners with 8 new entries and 1 exit in Brandon Curry. This is in no way disrespectful to Brandon. I believe he can beat Big Ramy, he only needs to step up his legs and repeat the conditioning from 2020. For me, Brandon is much more of a complete bodybuilder than Big Ramy is. What do you guys think about this video? I hope you enjoyed it. Like this video if you did. Let me know your opinion in the comment sections below. Subscribe for more videos like this, and as always, thank you guys and see you next time.